What is it that makes us want to argue and fight about this information that we've gathered that we don't even know is true or not? We don't know. What is it makes us want to fight about it? These things, all of these things, and this is why I speak about ego and spirituality a lot, and so on and so on. This is what I observe. This is what I see. I'm not giving you an opinion. It's not a judgmental opinion. If I speak about the ego mind and the spiritual mind, I'm not comparing them together to say this one's better than that one. I'm just showing you what I see. And then what's in your hands is to see if you see it for yourself. But most people won't. Most people don't want to look because they have invested their belief in whatever it is, whichever avenue they are pursuing. And in reality, because of this, most people don't actually want to know what it means when I speak about the spiritual mind. Most people don't want to know because, in my view, the spiritual mind is to forego all of the knowledge, is to forego all of the information, all of the beliefs, and all of these gatherings. And it's like to kind of return to the infant mind, if you like, is to arrive at this understanding that as the infant, you don't really have a state of mind. You don't have one. You gather this along the way. The mind that you have and what you function through now is a gathering. And this gathering is the result of how you've been conditioned. So eventually, through your conditioning, you begin to see through this conditioned mind. So to arrive at the spiritual mind, you have to let go of all of that. You have to let go of who you believe you are. You have to let go of what you believe about religion. You have to let go of all of these beliefs about culture and, family and, relationships. You have to let go of everything. But the difference between kind of where you are now to where you were as the infant is you are able to see in a completely different way. So it's like now, for example, I know that I don't have any knowledge. I know I don't have any knowledge. And I know this because all of what I believed was my knowledge is just what was given to me. It's like these are my gatherings. So somebody has kind of, somewhere along the lines, let's say, mankind created this knowledge, and this knowledge has been passed and passed and passed to, through each and every one of us as information. We gather this information. I didn't create this knowledge. I didn't make these words. I didn't shape these words about things. So I know it's not my knowledge. I just use it. And it's the same way I share in these videos and stuff, is I'm just using the knowledge that I've been given in order to communicate with you. And it's because I know that it's not mine, then it means that how I look isn't affected by it because I'm not identified with knowledge. So for me to say, don't believe what I'm saying, to kind of arrive at this point of not believing, you have to really understand what knowledge is. I can speak now using knowledge, knowing that it's not mine. It's like, and I say this a lot, if I drive down the street or if I'm walking down the street and I'm trying to arrive at some kind of destination, I might see an arrow or a sign that's pointing me in a certain direction. I look at that sign and I follow it, but it's not my sign. I didn't put it there. It's just going to point me in the direction that I want to go in. But it would be foolish for me to take the sign with me. What's the point? There's no point in me taking the sign with me just so that I can say, this is my sign because it showed me where to go. So what is it that leads us to settle for a belief as opposed to taking the steps to find out for ourselves? This, question this for yourself. And the chances are, if you are happy with your beliefs, if your beliefs are bringing you any sense of comfort, if you are, your beliefs have brought you surroundings and people that share the same beliefs, all of these give us a sense of comfort. They give us a sense of ease because the mind is kind of, there's almost like a perception of peace of mind that arises out of having all of these things around us. So when we arrive at that stage, there's no desire, there's no need to want to go any further. This is good enough. This is the comfort zone for now. This works for me. And it also means that the more people that actually believe the same things, the more kind of rigid it becomes in your own mind. But what my experience was in all of this spirituality stuff, was kind of reaching this point where I truly felt like I'd seen everything. I've done everything. I've had every experience that I could possibly have, that I needed to have. I no longer feel driven to experience things because I now see the root of that drive and that motivation and that desire. And if I can see the root of it to the extent that it's almost like I've had all of these experiences and I know that there's no fulfillment in it, there's nothing that I can take from any more experiences that's going to make me feel any different. To arrive at that point, I've been through angel numbers and numerology. I've been through occult practices and all of these kind of things. I've been through religions and various philosophies and so on. To arrive at this point of really kind of feeling like you've had all of these experiences and none of them make any difference to who you are, then you are left with this one step of finding out truly who you are, getting to the root of that. But we won't do that as long as we still feel driven and motivated to have experiences and to kind of feel something different. As long as that desire remains, there's no need to go any further. There's no need to question your beliefs. And ultimately, when you start to question your beliefs, it's like if you imagine your life being a jigsaw puzzle, and suddenly the moment you question a belief is like taking one piece of the jigsaw puzzle out, taking one piece out and having just a hole in the middle of the jigsaw puzzle. And I suppose in a lot of ways, to have that hole in the middle of the jigsaw puzzle, it's like, what would happen if you were in space on the edge of a black hole? You don't know what's going to happen if you get sucked into that black hole. And although we have all of these scientists and everybody else saying all of this about what happens in a black hole, about how time and space now it gets contorted and all the rest of it, until you actually go into that black hole, you don't actually know what's going to happen. So you can only make assumptions. And that's what it would be like, having a hole in the middle of your picture, like having the piece taken out of the jigsaw. It's like, you don't know what's in there. You don't know what's going to happen. There's just this hole of nothingness. And I think that's what happens when you start to really pick apart your beliefs and all of the things that you have learned to believe in, you begin to shatter the illusion, the image that you have in your mind. And bit by bit, you begin to reveal a void of nothingness. The ego doesn't like that. Ego thrives when ego thrives with the image. Ego thrives with objects. It doesn't matter the source of these objects. All objects are basically things. It doesn't matter whether they are psychological, as in thought, or whether they are actual physical objects. Anything that is perceived is an object, and ego thrives in objects. This is where ego hides. So in the absence of objects, I regard this as being perhaps our greatest fear. We need objects in order to be able to identify ourselves. Many fields of spirituality will say that everything is a reflection of who you are, or a reflection of yourself, which again, many people kind of on this spiritual path probably misinterpret what this means. But if you can truly look at anything, any object, whether it be thought or physical, and see that it is a reflection of yourself, then at that point, arises like, could I say necessity? At least the desire to look the other way. So anytime we are looking outwardly and we are looking at objects, we are looking at things, whether it's in thought or whether it is physical, we are basically looking at the reflection of ourselves. To turn and look the other way, as I say in videos and stuff, to look within is to look in the opposite direction. So you're not looking outwardly. Look in the direction that is casting the reflection, if you like. And what do you see? What do you see? You cannot truly believe anything about yourself when you look within. You can only believe things when you are identified with things. So that's the parting question. What is it that makes us want to believe rather than actually finding out for ourselves?